Start. Hi, welcome to our virtual paint party tonight. We're going to be doing a little floral piece. And if you are not watching this live, that's fine. I did want to point out, let me see if anyone, I don't think anyone's joining me yet, but did want to point out that if you are local to Galax, Virginia, or if you want and you want to get a really cool set, I just saw that we have these at Chestnut Creek School of the Arts, and it includes all sorts of brushes and 3 canvas panels in all these colors. So it's a really good deal. It was only like $20 for all of that. So and I think it'll be pretty decent acrylic paints. Today I'm just using some Reeves kind of tube acrylics because that's what I already have opened. And we are going to get started, and I'll be using an 8x10 panel, but any panel will work. So I'm going to flip my camera around and set it up. Oops. Sorry, I've got a new little space here, so things are a little bit out of order. Okay, I've got to add the lighting. Hello, hello, welcome. Sorry, I just flipped my thing around. Welcome, welcome. How are you all? See, someone is connecting to audio, and I think we're just gonna have 2 on tonight. We have some people that I know are gonna watch the recording after, so that'll be great. Pat, I can barely hear you.
So if we get disconnected, it's because I'm having a storm.
Right, we've had some pretty bad storms today, and actually I was teaching a class earlier. My light went out, and that was in the day, and it was pretty dark. So if that happens, I'm not sure what to do, but we'll figure something out.
No problem. I'm gonna watch the video and play this game again.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I'll take the class again on the video.
Okay, great. All right, and if we do, I mean, my cell phone's on data, and that's what I'm recording with, so it shouldn't be a problem unless the cell tower gets knocked out. But
well, yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna have a fun little floral painting today, and I'm gonna flip my camera around.
Hi.
And hello. Oh, are you leaving, Pat?
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh, did you just say hi, Andrea?
Yes.
No, but I say hi.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
Andrea.
I heard someone say hi, and I was like, "Who's it?" I'm gonna do it this way because, sorry, I'm trying to do my thing on a different side here. I never have it set up right, even if I try ahead of time. Okay, this might have to go on the other side after all, so I can see. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna have to move it over here. I thought I'd try it on the left side so it wouldn't be on my right hand, but that's just not going to work. Okay. So I just have a canvas panel. Any size will work. Any acrylic paint will work. I'm just using what we kind of put together in the bags last week with the ornaments. It's just a Reeves paint. And so it's limited colors, but they're pretty, I mean, we'll be able to mix a lot with those. So I'm going to use a paper plate to pour my colors out on. And I'm just going to put a little of each one to get started. So I'm using yellow ochre. And medium yellow. You don't have to have these exact colors. Yours does not have to turn out just like mine. These are very experimental. I just shared a painting one of my students did to kind of promote the class on my personal Facebook page. And it was, she really kind of, her goal was to use all the paint on her palette before the class was over. And so she really made some beautiful marks and strokes and So I'll kind of go over that, but it's a really fun, and I always use a lot of white, so you can always add more. I'm just trying to get some on the plate. Any order is okay. This is a brilliant red. Kind of wish we had another red, but this is going to have to work. And just a little bit of black. I really don't like using black a lot, and I might not even use it, but there it is just in case. All right. So we'll go through this. Sorry, I have my glue out. I also have water and a paper towel. I might need a few more paper towels because just to trade off between colors. I don't tend to wash my paintbrush a whole ton while I'm using acrylic and oils, but that changes. So we'll see. I do wash it when I'm going from, you know, when I'm changing from like a green to a red or something like that. So, all right. So I have an 8x10 canvas, just so you have a reference of sizing. You can do whatever size you want. And I'm going to kind of start. Sorry, let me get my sample up on my computer here so I can look at it. I like to start with yellow almost all the time if it's going to be included in my painting, because it kind of gets you used to the paint strokes and familiar with the work, whether you're an experienced artist or not, just working kind of with the lightest color. Because if you mess up, you can easily paint over it. Acrylic is very forgiving in that once it's dry, you can really make whatever out of it. I mean, you can paint over it, sorry. So I'm gonna kind of pick this top right corner. I'm gonna paint kind of a big, and this is gonna be a pretty abstract-y flower painting. I mean, you're gonna be able to tell it's flowers, but it's gonna be not super hyper realistic. And I'm using a flat red brush, and I'm just kind of painting some strokes going up. And then I'm gonna have, I should probably just blot out a little circle here as reference. And I'm just gonna kind of go around with my yellow. And if your brush starts to kind of lose paint, just get more. The more, the better. You'll be able to see plenty of brush strokes. The more paint you use, the thicker your painting is going to be. So I've just kind of gone around my circle, and I lift my paintbrush up. I kind of push down hard in the middle and I lift it up as I'm going out of the circle. And it doesn't really matter. I'm kind of, you know, just doing a quick stroke. And that way when you lift it, you can see it kind of fades. And without washing my paintbrush, I'm going to get a little bit of white. And I try to always pull the paint from the edge, so that way I don't totally destroy the full piece. If I kind of plunk my yellow paintbrush in there, it is going to, I'm going to have to use a lot more white than I want to. And to start, I'm going to turn my paintbrush sideways so it's not full flat. And I'm just going to pull a little bit just to kind of get some yellow dispersed on here. If I need to get more, I can. I mean, it's going to look a little bit stripy to begin with, but then I can sort of blend that in. And I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of a shadow. My light's in a different place. Like I said, I kind of rearranged. We had to set my son up for virtual learning. And so I gave him my desk, and I've kind of got a new space. And my lighting's a little bit backwards. And so I've added some white, and that just kind of adds like a little highlight to it. And then without, again, washing my brush, I'm going to get a little bit of that ochre. And it's just a little bit. And again, I'm going to kind of streak it through areas on here. Not as much as the white, just a little bit, maybe even some on the edges. A little bit more. And it's almost like a dry brush, which, you know, I just don't have a ton of the paint on there. And then I can sort of spread that out. And it just gives your painting a little dimension without getting too crazy. So you can kind of brush that. And it's almost like a little brown, but that ochre sort of balances it out. And I might even put a little bit in the center area. So I just kind of dabbed my paintbrush around the center. I can even pull some of that out. Going around. I like this flat paintbrush because you can really kind of get a petal shape without much effort. So you always kind of want to start from the center and head out when you're trying to capture these petals. So we have a nice little start there. I'm also going to use, I just dipped my paintbrush in the bright yellow, medium yellow, or lemon yellow. I'm going to go ahead and kind of sketch in some stems in here with the yellow. So I've turned my paintbrush so I'm just drawing with the edge. I'm not flat brushing it. I'm kind of just using the edge of the brush. I'm just pulling in some stems just to kind of start blocking that in. We're going to do a lot more flowers than just one. So I'm just kind of laying that in there just to start putting some paint on the canvas. I have a new puppy and she's laying right next to me and snoring her head off. I've never heard her snore, but she's the cutest little thing. How are you doing, Andrea? Am I going too fast?
Oh, you're doing great. I appreciate it, but I want to see the puppy.
Oh, obviously, yes. I'll be happy to share my puppy. This is Lunala. We call her all sorts of nicknames. Oh, she just looked up. Here she is. And so she's about 15 and a half weeks now, we think. And she was dropped off at my friend's house. We think she was dumped or a stray that just kind of found her way. And she has been the sweetest little thing. So we've had her for about a week now.
Well, congratulations.
Smart as all get out. Yes, it was a total surprise, but it felt right. So we just said yes. So
we have strays coming to our house and they become part of the family.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard to turn them away. We have a little Yorkie, though, that is not super happy. She's 12 years old, and she's not super happy about having a sister right now. But the puppy doesn't seem to care that she's super grouchy. So I'm going to use this light green color. It's kind of like a sap green. I mean, and I'm just going to sketch that in too now while I've got just some yellow on my brush. I always try to build it up as I'm going. Now I might even dip it in the darker green too. We'll come back to that, but I was gonna wash my paintbrush off and I decided that might as well go ahead and add some green in here. Actually, I'm gonna even do some sprouts of the beginning of some leaves kind of coming from all over. And again, I'm using the edge. I'm not using the whole flat part of the brush. I'm using the edge, and you can make it as thick. Again, I'm kind of pushing down in the center and lifting my brush up as I go out. And you can kind of put them wherever you want. We're going to add flowers in between or even over this. I just like to have a little bit more because it's easy to paint over it. And you can even go back and add more yellow and things like that. So just starts to give it, I'm just kind of streaking some color. So we'll have some like little buds. Our yellow flowers sort of our focal point. Probably put some more in here after it dries a little bit. So once I kind of get most of my greenery down, I am going to rinse this paintbrush off. And Andrea, I know you're used to acrylic, but we might have some people watch it later that aren't used to it. It dries quickly and you don't want to leave it on your brush. So you really want to kind of clean clean it off really well. And I'm going to put
water. You clean it with water?
Yep, acrylic is a water-based medium. It's thick, like, you know, it's great in that sense. So, but yeah, it's just water soluble. You don't need anything special. But you do have to make sure your paintbrush dries, because if it does dry, unlike watercolor, if you leave paint on there, it will not, when it dries, you will not be able to wash it out later. Watercolor you can, but not acrylic. So I've got my round brush now. So if you had gotten a kit from us, you got one of these and I think one of these.
I didn't get my kit yet.
Pat, I looked up on the tracking, and for some reason it's not going to get there till Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the mail's just going slow or what, but originally when I put it in, it said Thursday or Friday. So who knows?
Okay.
All right. So we just had a big clap of thunder here. So I'm going to go ahead and do some red flowers, and I'm going to pull my red and mix it in with some white. And I always, if you can see, I'm not mixing the full petals. I'm pulling from them and mixing kind of smaller, because that's easier to adjust the color. You know, if you get
have any red, huh?
If you get too much white or too much red, it's just, you can add, or it's easier to do smaller. So I'm going to start with a pretty light pinkish color, and I think up here I'm going to add some sort of like a rosy look. And so the way I'm doing this is I am kind of doing C's within C's, and if you've taken some of my classes before, it's very similar, or you could even just kind of swirl a circle around. Again, these are very abstract flowers. We are going to have some look, but you can kind of see how it just paints right over that green, super easy. I'm going to do a fairly big bud that goes off the page, and I might have to mix a little extra paint up here because I'm running out. And then I'm going to make a little smaller one. And again, it's just kind of like going circles. And with acrylic, you really don't want to have the canvas showing through. So we're going to be adding enough layers on this with some other colors that you won't see the canvas behind it. But this is just going to be our first layer. So I've kind of done two, and I'm actually just going to dip my paintbrush in some pure red to mix on my plate and add a few extra strokes in there just to kind of get that going a little bit more, since my paintbrush is already red. So I'm not painting it solid, I'm kind of sketching in some redness in there. Could even do some more. And it doesn't have to be even at all. It'll kind of look pretty, even if it's not perfectly even. So that's a good start. I might go back and do a little bit of touch up. With the red on my paintbrush, I'm going to actually put a little layer right in the white spot of that first flower I did, just to kind of get, probably won't stay red, but I just feel like I need a little color. I might even add, well, no, I don't want to add ochre yet. We'll leave it like that for now. I just realized I don't have a brown in my palette. I don't know why. I'm missing some colors, but that's okay. We'll make our own brown. So since my paintbrush is red, I'm going to go ahead and try to make a violet-y color by adding blue. And we'll see how this works out. This red and this blue are pretty interesting. I might have to Sometimes the coolness and warmness of a color can affect that. So I have red, blue, and white, and that's actually not so bad. It's kind of a dull purple. Whoops, almost got my paintbrush. And so I'm going to use one of these stems and kind of make some, actually, yeah, make some lavender type. And I'm just going to do pretty much 2 dots on either side, kind of going up and down. I'm actually going to add another, I'll add some green later. Just kind of like little footsteps coming through, little dots. I can add another stem kind of coming through there later. This be a little pretty, and I might add some over here since I've already got the purple and I'm liking it. It can go over the roses or behind them. Kind of looking for some balance. I'm going to get a little bit of white on my paintbrush and maybe go a little bit over that. It should, since I haven't washed my paintbrush off, it should kind of blend in. That's just going to give a little touch of dimension. If I need to get more paint, I can. So again, I'm just putting a little bit of white. I'm tempted to get a little bit of blue. Maybe mix a little more blue in there with that violet just to give another touch. And it doesn't have to even be exactly on there. It can kind of be a little bit off center, just to give some color, building up our painting. You could even do a little bit of pure blue in there. I don't think I want that much blue just yet. I'm gonna say blue for some stems and stuff, but that's starting to look really pretty. Whoop, sorry about my table. So we've kind of done a blue violet with our lavender. Trying to think of another good color we could use. I'm thinking about putting some like red violet, almost like a can't even think of what it's called. Almost like a peony, I suppose. I'm going to use a little more red. That'll balance out the roses. So I'm going to mix that in. Might need to use a lot more. Yeah, I like that to start with. I'm going to get some white in there. I'm going to make it a pretty light color to start with. We can even go lighter than that. I might even use a combination of colors. And what I'm going to do is it's going to be kind of almost like a series of dots, but we're just going to use a little colors, and it's going to be kind of a little bloom coming out the side here. So it's almost like we're seeing the side of it. So I'm going to lay some dots in it, and I have some different colors on my paintbrush, so I don't necessarily need it to be perfectly mixed. And I'm going to just kind of turn my paintbrush, and I'm almost just dabbing it down, and I'm thinking about like a kind of like a half circle type shape. So I've got enough. I'm going to add a little bit more white to my paintbrush, and I'm going to mix it a little bit on my palette and go again kind of on the outside edges of that, but kind of keeping the same shape. I had to get a little more white, maybe a few on the end, and I'm just going to kind of keep adding white. Just kind of creates a different looking flower. Like we can add some green on that later to make it. I like that color. I might even get some more red. Whoop, that's a little too red. It's okay if there's a little. I'm having trouble. I might need to get some paint off my paintbrush. It was a little too loaded. having trouble controlling the color. So you just wipe it off on your paper towel if you're having that problem. So mixing up a little bit more red to kind of add some extra color. That's just going to be a nice little punch of color. So I could do little smaller strokes, bigger strokes. I like that. I might even see about putting some around the edges of these roses, just to, I'm going to touch a little bit on the edges, just because I like that color. It's like a mauve color. And I think I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off. I might have to change my water. I'm used to watercolor where I can use the same thing of water the whole time, but this might not be doable with acrylic. I'm going to mix a little more green. I'm going to start off with yellow and use my lighter green. I always try to mix two colors together rather than using just a pure color, because it just keeps it from getting super flat. And it helps you want to build up the painting a little more, I think. So kind of done that. And then add the next darker green, or if you don't have that many greens, you could always add blues. I'm just kind of adding some more little extra stems to my lavender. So I'm kind of touching the bottom so it looks like they're growing out of something. Just, I mean, it doesn't even have to be perfectly there. I'm just really kind of dabbing the paintbrush down. I'm going to add a little bit of white to that green just to get a different feel. You can see it's just more of a pastel-y green. I got a little bit of the red from the puddle of white I used earlier, and that's okay. Just use the back side of it. I can always pour a new, squirt out some new color if I needed to. I'm just going to start streaking some of that color just to test it out in my bouquet, but you can kind of start to see that's building up nicely. How's my pace, Andrea?
Good.
Okay. How about you, Pat? Are you doing okay?
Yep, it's going good.
Awesome.
You're doing great. I like it. My canvas is bigger than yours, so I have a lot more room to do something.
Yeah.
Maybe you could suggest some other things to do.
Yeah. I'm going to add some more greenery on this, and you can just kind of make it either bigger or more of it. Like you can do more of the lavender, maybe add some more rose. I might add some more roses in here. But I'm going to kind of add some more stems. You could do some of these kind of poofs of, you know, in different colors, like yellows. If you want to add a little more yellow, you can do another of these kind of sunflowers too. Maybe a smaller one, so that one's still kind of the focal point.
Could we do, or could you help me do something that's facing to the side?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
Like
I might
the
do
one you, but the one
like
you
this.
did to the left of your yellow flower is facing to the side, and I'd really like to know how to do roses facing to the side.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I might do a little rose down here or something. We can do that.
Okay, thanks.
Let me go, since I already have some green on my paintbrush.
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and
Anytime.
add this down here. And again, this is, I like to just put the greenery everywhere. It's something that you can kind of paint over after. So I'm just going to do some touches here and there while it's on my brush. I would really like to put, I'm even going to put some in kind of in here so it looks like it in my little from the side one. And I got it's not quite dry yet. ideally I'd probably let that dry a little bit more. That's a live and learn thing. So I got a little more yellow in there because that's super pastel-y. I'm just doing some touches. I'm not worrying about if like the color kind of goes awry, because I'm adding a little yellow to the ones I just did down there. We'll even add more later, but just kind of adding touches of color everywhere. Actually, I'm gonna do with that lighter green and yellow. One kind of coming down here too. Just a little, I'm just kind of pushing down with my paintbrush. I'm not drawing with the paint. I'm just really kind of using a brush stroke to capture the essence of a leaf or a flower. So don't, you don't think about drawing a circle, just thinking about using the shape of your brush to push down and pull or push, to lift up, to, to put down the color. Mix a little bit of that Viridian green in there. Just touches. You don't have to fully cover everything every time you add a touch of color, but you can kind of see I move around the painting, putting little touches of color here and there constantly. And I know I move fast, but almost that helps you not have to overthink it by adding the little colors everywhere. Because it is easy to overthink painting. I'm gonna do some more in here. I think what I might do is put a little, trying to think of where the best composition wise would be to put a little rose on this. I feel like I need something down here, but might have to go here. All right, so I'm gonna rinse my paintbrush off really well again. You know what I might do is just make kind of a little one. Now, Andrew, you can go pretty big with this. But for my sake, I think I'm gonna do like a little side rose right here, just because this is kind of speaking to me, this little stem here. I might do another one somewhere else, but right now I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to use my red, and I just realized I'm thinking watercolor brain here. I'm going to get some red and mix it in with some white, but it's still going to be pretty dark. I just want to kind of kill the super fresh vibe of the out of the tube. And I'm just going to lay in, it's almost like a large petal, and I might come in a little bit. And again, that we're doing abstract, so this isn't super realistic. You can obviously tighten up your strokes to make it a little more realistic, but I'm going to, once I kind of get that first layer in, I'm going to pull some more white in there and start, and if I need to go back to red, I can. Just trying to figure out the and roses kind of have these like petals that outturn, and I'm going to add some pure white on there, and then I might even go back in. It's going to kind of look like the center of the rose, let's point out, and use some pure of that pure red. And it really can be super subtle. Again, I don't have the best space here, but I'm going to ground that with green here in a little bit. I've just got to cover up the stem underneath. So again, I'm just kind of, now I'm doing a little bit of mixing on my paper. You can do it on your palette or your paper. but it's just a little, getting a little bigger. I feel like I need some kind of petals going out the other way. I'm kind of winging this here since you requested it, so it might not turn out perfect. And I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off because I feel like I'm losing a little bit of focus without the stem being right. So I'm going to pull in the stem here. It's going to be kind of a triangle. I'm doing that with yellow and green, the light green and white. And then I just added some green. I'm just kind of touching that darker green in the areas here. Kind of goes off the page a little bit more than I'd like. I wish I had a little more space, but I don't. So I'm just, since I've got that tealish green on my paintbrush, I'm just going to tie a little bit of that into here. Might even put a little blue in there around the outskirts. Maybe I need one coming down here or something. Might do another one over here. But I'm going to, well, I have white. I just rinsed my paintbrush off. Now I've got white. I'm going to build these up a little more with a lot of white and a tiny bit of red. Just add some of these kind of highlights. And again, I'm not painting solid. I'm just kind of streaking some color through. You can do kind of blobs of color here and there. Really help you build it up. All right, so I've just made my, I just kind of expanded my little, one of these a little bit bigger. I was just feeling it. Well, I've got some red on my paintbrush. I'm going to mix it with some ochre and try to make a little bit of a darker red. I might have to get a little bit of black, which I hate doing this early on, but since I am missing brown, ideally I'd be using brown. I'm gonna make this a little darker. I'm gonna let some of that red show through, but I'm gonna cover up a lot of it. I might even get a little more ochre to kind of dab in there. I don't want it to be a perfect circle. I do want it to kind of be a little rough. And then I'll rinse my paintbrush off really good since I use black, because I really don't want to get black mixed in accidentally somewhere. I think I want to do another little side flower right here, kind of with this one. So I'm going to do red and white again. We'll try it going the other way. And I'm just going to do nice, kind of get bold with it. Just lay it out a little bit crazy. So it's kind of like a V shape. It's going to be a little crazy rose. And then I'll get the white. And it sometimes just takes a few strokes to get it. I might even get a little bit of yellow in there. Just, it'll be mostly red. It'll be like a yellow, can't think, a red orange, just with a touch of yellow. And, you know, that'll get it, and you can kind of get a little crazy with it. And then again, I'm going to have to add a little greenery to ground it there. And a little white. Got too much dark green on my brush. So a lot of acrylic. Oh, can you guys even see it? Yes, sorry. I was not paying attention to my camera. A lot of acrylic too is kind of laying a first color down, and if you have to go back and adjust, you can. That's the beauty of it, right? Is it dries, and you don't, you know, if there's a part you hate about it, you can go back and just paint over it. It's not. Don't be afraid to do that. I'm gonna get a little bit of blue mixed in with my greens to make a nice kind of cooler areas of the painting. Maybe put some in the background here. Sometimes if you have holes, if you just kind of put some different strokes of colors, it'll read as a floral, even though it's not necessarily a perfectly drawn out flower. So just kind of touching in some more areas. Might add some like little buds down here. A little bit crazy over here. I might need to define that a little bit better. Maybe with a little bit of blue. I'm gonna wash my paintbrush off and get a little more red on that. Now that it's dried just a little bit. Some red, maybe a little bit of white in there. Just again, just kind of dabbing my paintbrush. To get the feel of some strokes. I mean, I feel like I need a little highlight on that side. Nothing too much, too crazy. So we're getting there. I might make a little jar around this, because I feel like it's kind of just hanging out. I think I want a jar. So I'm going to mix a little bit of blue and some white. And actually, I'm going to pour a little bit more white on my palette, because my palette is, my white on my palette is pretty dirty with other colors. Sorry, and I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. And that'll kind of make a fun little, I wasn't originally intending on doing this, but I kind of like the idea of it. So I'm using the edge of my flat brush. I mixed blue and white, and I didn't mix it very well. I just kind of got them stirred in a little bit so the blue wasn't super dark. And then I'm just going to kind of streak it up. And this is abstract, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And then with the flat side of the brush, I'm going to get some more white in there. And I'm just going to kind of brush that through. I even need more white. But the idea is you kind of want it streaky so it reads as glass. I'm even going to put some over the flowers. I mean, even get a darker blue edge there and some kind of streaking through. That way it'll look like glass, almost like a little square jar. And I can even add some white over the dark blue, and it just kind of looks like it's reflecting light like a glass would. You don't have to do the jar. It kind of hit me, and I think I wanted to do it. Add some curves down here. add. And then I can kind of have room to do a little, almost looks like a table, so I can do some color in the background. So I'm kind of leaning towards like a tealy color. Purple would be nice, like a mauve-y purple would be good, almost like a neutral purple. I think that's what I might go for. One more blue. Could even get a little bit of green in there so it looks like it's you can't really tell where the stems are. Almost looks like it's full. So yeah, I'm gonna put a little bit of green. I like that. Put some yellow in there. You could put red in there and make it look like the flowers are reflecting off. Actually, I think I'm gonna do that just for, it's fun. It doesn't need a lot. It just adds some fun color to that vase by adding
Amy,
a touch
I
of.
like the vase a lot.
Yeah, I think it grounds. I feel like the just the stems was kind of distracting from the. But thank you. Yeah,
You did a real nice job with that. I don't think I can do it, but I'll try.
It's just blue and white. Kind of just drawing in a square and then streaking it through, turning your brush flat and then side, using your flat brush and doing the dry brushes like this, and then the thicker paint sideways is really kind of key. So I'm gonna mix a little mauve up. I'm gonna get this background done. So I like that purple, and I'm gonna kill it a little bit with some ochre, so it is a little more. I'm gonna use my messy white. I can always make it darker. Actually, that went a little too. I'm doing all sorts of. It's like when little kids get paint, they start every color in the jars together. I feel like that right now. All right, we're getting there. I don't know if that's what I was going for, but I can change it later. Oh yeah. So it's just kind of like a gray purple. So it kind of pulls from our lavender we did, but it doesn't take away. And again, if I paint over something, I can always come back in, because acrylic is just very forgiving like that. I can even add some white to streak in there so it doesn't look crazy flat. Maybe on this side I'll go with a little more of the ochre in there. So I just added, I kind of dipped my paintbrush in the ochre. I might should have put some newspaper down. This is my new painting table, so I guess it'll just be paint on it. Can even streak some of that through here as if it's coming through. You don't need a lot, just a little bit will kind of tie everything together. Even in the bottom would probably be the best, just so it looks like it's standing on something. So I'm getting there. And then I'm just gonna kind of take my brush, and you might, if you want to, you can use a smaller brush, but a lot of kind of abstract, almost impressionist paintings like this kind of do have these funky edges around, as long as they're intentional, and not just avoiding, but it's kind of blurs the line between where the flowers start and the background starts, or I guess the flowers end and the background starts. There's a beauty in that. So we're kind of working with that. I'm gonna actually streak a little bit of ochre on top of that now that it's dried a little bit, to pull in the sunflower colors. So you can kind of go back, just because it's covered doesn't mean it's finished. That's kind of the mentality I had to really fight in my younger students is, they think, oh, the canvas is covered and it's done. And that's not necessarily true. You can really do a lot more after the canvas is covered. And that's why I think I really liked the beauty of the sample I shared on my Facebook page, is that student wasn't worried about covering the canvas. She was worried about using all of her paint. That was her goal, was to use up all the paint. which is such a neat kind of thought process. So you just keep adding until your paint's gone. And I'm going to use that a little bit of that purple in the center of this flower too, because I think that that'll help. I might have gotten a little too much on my paintbrush. And I'm seeing this area right here is bothering me. Oop. Did I lose you guys? No, you're here. Sorry. I think my camera just fell. Are y'all okay? I think Pat might have gotten off. She must have hit a thunderstorm. She's down in Florida.
Losing you for some reason.
What?
I'm losing you.
Okay, yeah, because you're not showing up on my end. I'm surprised I can even hear you. Well, it'll be recorded, Pat. So if you need to rewatch it, you know.
I'll do it again later.
All right. I hope you've enjoyed. I've actually uploaded all the other ones to YouTube. I didn't realize I could download them from Zoom and then upload them. So I have those on our YouTube channel now. So that's exciting. So I'm probably going to do that. We're trying to navigate all this virtual stuff. Unfortunately, this week I was not able to get into work and do a lot of promoting of anything. So I didn't have a big. All right. So what I was going to do, I've rinsed my paintbrush off like 5 times to do this one thing, is I'm going to add some more yellow, like the first thing we did in the beginning. Ooh, my paintbrush is too wet. Dripping water on acrylic paint before it's dry is never a good thing. So I'm going to quickly grab my paper towel and let that little drop up. It'll pull that paint off, especially cheap canvases like this one. All right, so I'm going to get a pretty loaded paintbrush here, just so it covers good. Since that's pretty dry, I'm not too worried about it pulling up the green, but it might. Actually, I just forgot. It's doing a little bit of pull. I can even come back here and paint over the you know, some other flowers. Since this was the first thing, it won't hurt to kind of add that yellow and white again and brighten that first one up, because sometimes it gets lost. That's up to you. You can even go over the rose. I think I like that rose, for instance. Ooh, I got way too much yellow on there. Like the whole glob. A little bit of red. I'm going with it. Who knows? Might have just messed that up, like getting the too much paint on my brush. So I like, you know, adding white or like a really light yellow to this is gonna kind of give it a nice highlight here at the end. And then you can always kind of add the ochre and yellow in the middle. I don't know. For some reason, my paintbrush is pulling all sorts of weird paint colors in. I love it. I'm losing my definition in my petals.
I'm also worried about the brushes when I'm getting this. She said that they're not.
Might have gone too far down here. I have to pull in some of that green. So I'm just kind of, while it's still wet, I'm kind of lifting up some of that yellow. And then I can re-add the edge of where that flower is. That's what was bothering me. All right, I think I might need some, now that I have a vase, I might need some greenery coming out the front there. So I think I'm going to do that. I don't know why my video is being weird. All right. So what I'm going to do is get some greenery in the front. Right, with some light, I'm going to start with light colors. I might have to define it with some darker greens. Yeah. So I'm going to do some, again, I'm not really drawing things. I'm just adding in some bolder strokes. I might have to do it even sometimes you can do dark with acrylic. The cool thing is, unlike watercolor, you can start dark and then once it dries, add lighter on top. And that is a cool, I like that effect too. So I'm just kind of adding some blue and the darker green. It's kind of creating a nice little, I might do a little shorter stem over here, going a different direction, maybe smaller leaves. And again, it doesn't have to necessarily look exactly like a leaf. It's kind of the sense of the whole picture when you're all done. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow on here because I like it. And if your colors are such to look the same, you might need to clean your paintbrush off. You know, if you start to just keep adding color to your paintbrush, don't be afraid to rinse it. Especially when we're using so many colors like we are today. So I'm just adding some touches of white on this just to give it a little highlight while it's still wet and it's kind of pulling up some good color. I might even add some over here to these leaves. Especially since I painted that background after. This will just make those leaves kind of actually look like they're in the foreground. Which I like a little bit of ambiguity in those. You know, not knowing what's background versus what's
Thursday night TV.
What's foreground. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. Might even do some little sprigs out here just to break that background up. Ooh, there's some thick paint on here on mine. Kind of adding a little bit more to this rose. I feel like it got a little bit caught in the middle. Sort of a little ding, ding. Alrighty. So you just kind of keep building it up, you know, using different colors, and key is to use some darks and lights together. You know, the dark colors and then the same color just mixed with light can really go a long way with making your painting come to life. So that's the fun part of this. Do you guys have any questions as we're doing this? Because right now I'm kind of just mixing some additional greens and blue greens to fill in little areas of the painting that maybe I missed. Might add a little bit of black. I feel like this center is a little bit distracting. I don't love the way that turned out. I kind of having that purpley background, you know, up through here too. I'm adding some touches of it up here. It just helps draw your eye throughout the painting. It's just an element that will kind of pull everything. And actually, that is what my big flower might need, is some purpley definition. I was kind of thinking sunflower, but it might. You don't have to do this, but I'm adding a little purple. I think it needs something different than what I've done. It's the center, the main focal point, and I just feel like I've not done it justice. So I'm kind of just streaking some of the mauve purple and ochre color that I used in my background through it. And it's just giving it a bit of a new life. It's kind of, I'm kind of defining the edges of the petals slightly, not a solid line, but just giving it enough to where it feels less like a ray of sunshine and more like a flower. It's looking a little too sunshiny for me. Ooh, I just put a little bit of blue in there and I like it. I didn't mean to. It was not the color I thought it was, but so you can kind of see. I'm just looking at it, you want to kind of look at it as a whole. Sometimes you focus in on things, and just looking at it right off the bat, red's a very dominant color. So you kind of get drawn to that. It's balanced out by the sides, but I do feel like I need just like a little bit, not a lot, but like a subtle moment of red up in the corner there. And I'm going to kill it with a little bit of white, so it's not, just random. But I am going to put maybe like a little bud. And you can barely see it here. I'm going to get closer. So I'm just adding just kind of like a little bit, almost like a little puff of flower up here with red. I mean, I could do that other places too, but I just feel like it needed some kind of stem of red up there just to balance out the rest of it. Probably even put it down here too. So I'm gonna add, and I'm just doing little kind of strokes of red, almost like a berry. Just a made up flower. Just adds a little something. But I think that's a fun touch. And then I think I'm gonna do, over on this little side flower, I think I'm gonna do a little bit of green. I've got like a really light yellowy green on there. If I can get the color, might not be able to get the color right. If I can't get the color right, I'm just trying to get just another few leaves. Because I think when I redid my yellow, I lost a little bit of the kind of random leaves in there. I liked that. I mean, this rose is bothering me, so I'm going to put a little bit of green in there. It might not make perfect sense, but hey, it's like little sprouts of something coming out. That's the thing, this is impressionistic. So you can kind of just see, I sometimes randomly will blot little strokes of color in there just to draw your eye somewhere different. If they're little and subtle, and not distracting, it'll be okay. And knowing when to quit is always half the battle. So I'm getting to a point where I'm probably going to start going backwards if I keep painting. So the cool thing about acrylic is you can always step away and come back to it and add more to it later once it's dry. I mean, you can do that with almost any kind of paint. If you really hate it, you can paint it all white with some gesso and start over. You just have some cool textures on the background. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with this. I think it's really fun. You could even add you could just make it all flowers. You don't even have to have stems in a vase. You can kind of continue it down here. If you wanted like maybe even like a purple stem. So build it up, be creative. I'd love to see your samples if you want to, what you've done, if you want to email them to me. My email at Chestnut Creek is amy@ chestnutcreekarts.org. And I'd love any feedback or requests for other classes. So this will be saved and uploaded to YouTube, to our YouTube channel, which is Chestnut Creek School of the Arts, along with our past classes if you want to go back and view those. Of course, these are all free, but donations are always welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Does anyone have any questions before I sign off?
I love it, Amy.
Yay! Thank you, Andrea.
So complete. I don't know if you can see mine if I hold it up, but I've still got a lot of space to fill in.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I like the yellow side flower you did. Very nice. And your roses are pretty too.
Thank you.
I like it. Very nice. Yeah, I don't think you need a vase.
What?
I don't think you need a vase. I kind of like yours floating. Yours is very much more like the first one I ever did like this. It looks similar. This is kind of different than what I originally taught. I like it a lot.
Thank you. Maybe I should put the background in and then to see if I needed to add any more flowers.
Yeah.
Fill in some of the white and try to do the jar.
Yeah, I'm not sure you need a jar though. Yours is really cool. I liked it. Kind of like.
But I love your jar.
Well, maybe practice on a piece of paper first before. Well, thank you. I'm gonna share a picture of mine just so you can kind of see it close up, because I know a video doesn't help always. But thank you all for joining.
What are you going to do next?
Oh man, what was on my list? I think someone requested watercolor postcards again. I'm going to do a different set.
Oh yeah, we do have that schedule. Is that on a Thursday night?
Yeah,
I think
they're all Thursdays. Like I said, I'm recording. I have the capabilities of recording now. So if you can't join, you can always just let me know you want it so I can make sure I send it to you when it's all done. But yeah, I'm trying to keep them on Thursdays just because that works with my family.
Right. That's a good time.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you always for joining, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.